Well, you know what? Do we want to hit the Cam Newton topic real quick before we go into basketball?
About the Super Bowl and MVP.
Yeah, like
It,
would you would you trade it? So Cam Newton got asked by Stephen A. Smith on First Take. I can't remember what day it was at this point now, but it may have been last week, maybe late last week. Stephen A. posed a question of what he asked Cam Newton, would he trade in his MVP trophy for a Super Bowl title? And Cam's response was no. He wouldn't trade that. He would not trade in that award for a Super Bowl. And I noticed that he caught a lot of heat, especially from our dear old fan base. You know what I'm saying? And understandably so, because we want a Super Bowl. We want to be able to say we have a Super Bowl as a franchise, and that's the ultimate goal for a fan. And you would think that's the ultimate goal for a player as well. But I guess when I take a step back, is that truly the ultimate goal for a player? You know what I'm saying? In like in a sport where no matter how much it's talked about being a team game, you're still an individual at the end of the day when that check clears. So I guess what were your thoughts on the matter?
I mean, honestly, I'm 50-50. I'm with both sides. At first, I did any old Cam what old Cam haters would do is just read the title and not actually click the video. And then 5 minutes in, I was like, all right, let me just click. I got time. Let me click the video, listen, understand. Cam Newton broke it down to me, and it's something you got to understand in the athlete's point of view. It's like I can't think of a good analogy, but it's like you want to be recognized. Want to be recognized. It helps. It's good for your mental. It's good for him as a athlete and his self esteem going forward. Like, hey, I did good. It seems selfish though. It does. It very does. It seems very selfish. But for him to say, "Hey, I got an MVP out of a franchise that nobody was talking about before I got here, really like that." Coming off the Steve Smith days, I did that basically one man show. I hate to say, minus Lou Kuechly in the defense. I mean, defense you can name a couple people, but their offense, look up.
If I tell
I
you
want y'all to look.
you won an
Yeah,
MVP with Philly Brown and Ted Ginn as your starting receivers, you wouldn't believe me. If I told anybody going into that year, Cam Newton's gonna win the MVP, this team with no real wide receiver one is gonna go 15-1. You wouldn't have believed me in the slightest. But this is where I stepped back and I understood where Cam was coming from. Because we've all played sports. Either we talked about it or we play. I know personally, me and you who played it, and mind you, just in high school, but that's where many of our careers stop for the general, sports watcher. And I think about me. I went to a state championship. Didn't really do much. I was on special teams, but I went to a state championship. And I thought about it. I'm like, and mind you, we didn't win. And and I thought about it. I was like, would I have really cared that much if I didn't feel like I truly contribute? Like I know coaches, everybody will tell you, hey, everybody on the team matters. Like, every little spot, like scout team matters, all that. Hey, man, look, at the end of the day, if you're an athlete and you're a guy that wants to compete and you're a guy that and we all know that everybody that for the majority, guys that play this sport or guys that are top end athletes are alpha alpha dogs in terms of their mentality. There is no great way to sit on the side and be like, yeah, I was on the championship team. That's cool, I guess, but I want to be a part of the reason why people say we won this. I know for me personally, it doesn't it did me no good to just be a part of the championship team. I wanted to be a bus driver on the championship team. I wanted to be at the forefront. Like when you talk about why we won, oh, I was a part of that. And it speaks to what I did in the offseason, the work I put in, and me doing my job. And that's what the MVP signifies for Cam. It signifies that, hey, the work I put in was correct. How I played was correct. And I did everything I could to be the best version of myself I could be, which culminated in me being recognized as the best player in the league. I understand that because that personal achievement is going to go with you everywhere. And I know the Super Bowl title. I think everybody remembers. You're immortalized for winning the Super Bowl, but everybody's not going to win a Super Bowl. Like Cam said, like everybody's not going to win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino doesn't have a Super Bowl. But do I look at Dan Marino as any less of a quarterback or any less of a player because he didn't win a Super Bowl? I personally don't. And it does, and Brad Johnson having a Super Bowl doesn't change how I think about Brad Johnson in the pantheon of great players and quarterbacks. Like we had this conversation. I think after we recorded the Gamecocks episode, like Robert Horry's got 7 rings. Who the hell gives a damn about Robert Horry having 7 rings? Like, like who cares about Robert Horry having 7 rings? Like Lamar Jackson is another example. And stop me whenever you see fit to jump in. Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs right now. No matter what happens, whether Lamar wins a championship or not, Lamar Jackson is going to be immortalized. And you can't talk about Lamar Jackson with certain guys because he has two MVPs. If he gets a third, there's a lot of conversations that a lot of guys can't even sniff Lamar in. They can't be in the same room as Lamar. Whether people want to give him that credit or not, 3 MVPs is 3 MVPs, and you cannot take away from what that means. No matter what you feel about what he's done in the postseason, you cannot take away from what it means. And it means that I did the work. I've held myself to a standard, and I've accomplished that standard each and every day that I've set out to go. Each and every day I set out to go to work, and so I can't think of any other field where somebody will be demonized for want to be recognized as the best in their respective field.
Correct. And that's what part of me said, okay, I see where Cam Newton is coming from. And Lamar is a great example because all that's left for Lamar is a championship ring. You know, Cam Newton, he was on his way to a multiple time MVP. He was on his way into that Thursday night game against the Steelers. Thank you, TJ Watt. But you know, um, and then also, I don't think we touched on the side of the fan base is I can get the fan base frustration because I mean, since Cam went down that Thursday night game, we ain't done nothing. Not even sniffed the Super Bowl, not even close to it. Hopefully with Bryce Young, we can get back there. Hopefully, but it's tough. It's tough, man. As a fan, saying, "Hey, but as a fan, if real fans, we know the status of what Cam Newton holds in this fan base. We know that. So as a fan, it will be fake of us to not be happy for this man for getting his MVP. And granted, that's what the thing with sacrifice. Let's see with life, even with life, it's sacrifices. You know, it's it's sacrifices. Yeah, we gotta. I wish we could have had both. I wish we could have had both that year. Honestly, I really did. But we gotta be happy for Cam for just getting MVP. But like, hey, at least we known for having MVP. Well, MVP here, not MVPs yet. Hopefully, we can get another MVP one day. But yeah,
But you know what though? Look, man, I think two things can be true at the same time. The fans don't have to like that. They don't have to accept it either. Like you don't have. I don't even think that they have to be okay with the fact that you'll be happy for Cam that he got his MVP. No, like, cool. I would trade your MVP in for a Super Bowl. Like I just tell if I can talk to Cam face to face, I'm trading your MVP in for a Super Bowl title for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think in his case, the season that he had was so immortalized that if he had finished the deed off, gone, what would have been the record? 18-1 if we would have won the Super Bowl. I think nobody would have even cared who the MVP was that year. The MVP that year would not have mattered because of the year that we had. So for Cam in particular, I mean, it's not like Cam didn't try to go win the Super Bowl. So I'm not gonna act like he's saying he sold the Super Bowl because he got the MVP. Like, no, like, well, we got beat by a team that had our number. We couldn't figure out how to adjust, and that's what happened in that game in particular. But I mean, yeah, I tell Cam straight up, I trade your MVP in for sure for a Super Bowl title, bro. What? Like, come on, yeah. I think you'd be just as remembered, just as immortalized with that Super Bowl more so than the MVP. If you got both in a perfect world where you got both, this is heralded as one of the greatest seasons of all time in NFL history, based off of just what you accomplished. Like then that's the one MVP season that people don't nitpick the numbers because if you were there and you saw it, and you can't deny it. Like that was the season where you cannot deny that this is the best player in football. And that same way I felt about Lamar's first MVP. Like you can't deny this is the best player in football. But yeah, I even trade Cam MVP for that Super Bowl title in retrospect. Absolutely.
And there it is. So I mean, 50-50. Uh, Cam, you still loved around these parts, bro. Hey, just simmer down with the Dwight Howard nonsense. I mean, that's a topic on another day. But yeah, that was kind of whack, my man.
Man,
That was kind of
we
whack.
gonna get to it? Cause trust and believe you, bro. Cause we got to talk to you, bro.
That was kind of whack, my boy.
That's
I
so
ain't gonna lie
lame,
to
bro.
you.
It was so lame. But I guess we'll move forward today.